Digital transformation, and in context of MSMEs, this is a great subject. This is not of theoretical interest only. This is a very practical uh, topic, I would say. And I am not going to talk of a lot of technology. I mean, I am going to make it very simple so that you can understand it well and you can apply it in your businesses. Now, when we talk of digital transformation, uh, there are two pillars which we talk of. And usually in industry, these two terms are being interchangeably used, but that is not correct. Digitalization and digitization. I repeat, digitalization and digitization. Now let's understand this in context of digital transformation, and you can also start relating it to your own businesses, whether you are in the field of manufacturing or you are in the field of consulting services or any other services or products and services. These days, we don't talk of products and services, we talk of solutions. Your customers are looking forward to solutions, not merely product or a service. A product is a service and a service is a product. Now, digitalization, what is digitalization? Let's differentiate clearly. And then I have only 4 topics to cover, which I will cover before 6:30, and then 6:30 to 7 we can take as many questions as we can. And still, if we are left with some unanswered questions, you can leave those questions with Sandeep, and I'll be happy to answer all those questions. Now, digitalization, in a very simple way, let's say if you have to go to Vijayawada from Hyderabad, but you are on a road towards, let's say, Mumbai, which is completely in a different direction. Now, faster you drive, farther you will be from your destination, which means it is not the speed, it is not the efficiency. Let's say you're driving very efficiently. It is not the speed or it is not the efficiency. The direction is important because you are headed, let's say you have to go toward Mumbai, you are going towards Kolkata. You are completely in a different direction. Digitalization gives a direction. Digitalization it's a strategic direction which impacts your business. So digitalization is not short term. Digitalization doesn't mean that this is something I was doing manually, I'm now doing it on Excel, or I have some tool, or I have some access to a platform, or I am now storing my information on cloud, which earlier I was my customer data. I am storing now in a secure way in a cloud, which I was secured, which I was saving on my machine. This is not digitalization. So digitalization is a direction, and that direction means it has to be for a long term. It is not for one day, it is not for 1 week. Of course, you can push me back by saying that in COVID era there is nothing such as long term. There is nothing. Everything has come down to short term. But in the normal circumstances, we talk of long term, where we have a planning horizon, which is 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. In the case of MSMEs, I can understand we may not have a 5 year horizon, but we will certainly have a 1 year horizon. We'll certainly have a 2 year horizon. So digitalization, from that standpoint, talks about direction. Now, in addition to direction, I'm also going to talk about resilience and agility. The second pillar is digitization. Digitization not means automation. That would mean that you were doing certain things manually and you have automated that process. Let's say you were recording customer complaints by taking the calls from your customer and noting it down and putting it in Excel. You've now completely changed it to an online customer complaint recording system. That complete automation is digitization, which means digitization deals with processes, whereas digitalization deals with long-term direction. And digitalization and digitization are two pillars. The third pillar, which is very important, is resilience. And we have seen businesses, nobody knew even till 1st of March, nobody knew that it will be so catastrophic. Nobody knew that businesses will be disrupted in such a big way. Our lives will be disrupted completely. Now, resilience is a capability when you can deal with such tough situations. So, digitization, and resilience, these are the pillars of digital transformation. Now, I think most of you love cricket. I also love cricket. We can say that Indian batting is now resilient to all types of pace attacks in the world. Whether it's a spinning track, fast track, we won in Australia, we won in India, we are resilient. So resilient is a capability. And when we talk of agility, agility means quickly maneuvering. Let's say you are driving on the road and you see a pothole and you are able to very smartly maneuver. That is agility, how agile you are. So I want to set the stage by these theoretical foundations, and then I will move to the practical aspect. Digitalization, digitization, resilience, agility. Now here we talk of, and for all your units, we all are in some kind of job or consulting or manufacturing or our own business. We talk of man-machine collaboration. Now in context of digital transformation, it is very important that we understand the concept of man-machine collaboration, because that's a reality. Men, of course, this is gender agnostic, the term man-machine, it includes women and men. So man-machine collaboration would mean that there can either be augmentation. What is augmentation? Means I tell machine something you do, something I will do. And automation. I tell machine you do it completely. For example, recording of customer complaints, I tell the machine you will do it. I will not do anything. So you set up the machine, you set up a digital web-based digital system wherein any customer can go to your website, can, if there are customer IDs, can put their customer ID, can put a PO number, can generate a complaint. The complaint will be recorded. The complete hourly complaints will go to a particular person. That is automation, right? Now the person would like to speak to the customer, and the customer is agitated. And the person speaks to customer, pacifies her or him. This is augmentation. You can't take away women and men away from the equation. So man-machine collaboration will mean, and for your businesses, you have to think how much augmentation, how much automation. And this is part of your digitalization and digitization strategy. When we talk of digitalization, we are talking of a horizon of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. And there we talk of a strategic business roadmap. And that strategic business roadmap incorporates digitalization and digitization. And it incorporates the augmentation part. Augmentation means dividing, where men and machines are taking the responsibility. Of course, man is the master. It's not the machine which is the master. Man will always remain the master. Even when we are supplementing man's intelligence with artificial intelligence, man will be the master. And the automation. So all these things are part of the strategic planning which you do. Whether you do it for 1 year, whether you do it for 2 years or 3 years, then now you have chosen a direction. I will come to the business models and everything. Once you have chosen a direction, now that you've chosen a direction that you have to go to Vijayawada and you're on the right road. Then the efficiency part comes into play. That is the automation. Which processes should I automate? Which processes I will augment men and machines? Fine. And then I will develop the capability for any uncertain conditions. I will develop a capability for risk. That will be resilience. So once I have my strategic response in terms of digitalization, I have my process automation by way of digitization, and I am resilient. Who knows what will happen in 2025? If not healthcare, something else, some information technology. I mean, God forbid, something related to information technology can happen in 2025 or 2030. Some other thing can happen. May not. I mean, I pray to the God nothing happens. But then, are you resilient? And businesses have shown tremendous resilience. Businesses have, of course, been severely impacted by COVID, but businesses have also shown strong resilience. And those businesses which have shown strong resilience have been able to keep their head above the water. Okay. The second part, and there are 4 parts only, and then I will stop and I will take questions. Is that digital transformation is not about technology alone. It is about creativity. It is about your imagination. It is about your leadership. And we call digital transformation as a blended recipe. Now, Hyderabad, and I also love biryani in Hyderabad. Hyderabad is a biryani capital of India. You have different biryanis. The ingredients, the salt may be same in most of the biryanis, but then the recipes are different. The creativity and the imagination is different. And same is the case with digital transformation. There is no one recipe for digital transformation that we can say that, okay, this is the recipe for digital transformation, and this applies to all the units. You have to craft your own blended recipe. And what that recipe will include, excuse me, that recipe will include the technology part, which is the salt in biryani. The Amazon cloud may be same. Most of you may use Azure or Amazon or something else. That is the ingredients part. The technology, the platforms, the digital tools, the artificial intelligence stack, the creativity part, the imagination part, the leadership part. That is how you create a digital transformation recipe. And when you create that recipe, then and that recipe creation is part of digitalization, which is strategic. Now you can relate the digital transformation recipe with digitalization, and then you move to the automation part, which is digitization. So recipe, man machine, augmentation, collaboration, working together, and something I say, machine, you take care. I will do something else. You cannot talk to the customer, agitated customer. I can understand the feelings of agitated customer. So I will do that feeling part, I will do. You did the data collection, you collected the customer complaint. That part I gave it to you. So you have collaborated with machine, you have automated a process. This all doesn't come suddenly out of blue. This is part of the digital strategy. This is part of the blended recipe you have crafted for your unit or for your consulting unit or manufacturing unit or a school or whatever business you are in. So I repeat, digitalization, man-machine augmentation, automation, which is digitization, and all part of this unique blended recipe. Like sambar may taste differently in all the homes. Why? Because their recipes are different. The housewife or the person what can I call it as, The person who cooks the sambar uses her or his own creativity. And that is the same for digital transformation. So don't copy digital transformation ideas from me, create your own. And three things which are very important. For long, we have been taught uh, whatever I mean, we've learned, whether in our MBA or engineering or our commerce or law or humanities, the fulfillment of customer needs. So fulfillment of customer needs is important, but digital transformation doesn't stop there. There are three things which need to be fulfilled. One is needs fulfillment, customer needs fulfillment. The second is that the needs are changing. Whatever the needs were there 1 week earlier, needs have changed. You say, I signed a contract with you. This is the scope of work. Now you are saying my needs have changed. This is a reality. So the needs are changing. And the third thing is the experience which you provide to customers. I give you a very simple example. Let's say you go to a restaurant and you always order spicy food, and the person who serves you knows that you like spicy food. And you go there, you said, today I don't want, want completely bland, no spices at all. And you are served with whatever your changing needs. And you are sitting at a very nice place, you eat it, you come home, you say, lovely experience. So your needs were fulfilled, changes were taken into consideration, and you got good experience. Now think of opposite. Your needs were fulfilled, your changing changes in your needs were taken care of, but you were sitting at a place and it was a very hot day, and you are sweating, there is no air conditioning there. You come home, you say, this is an awful experience, very bad experience, and you are not happy. Out of three things, two things have been fulfilled. Your needs have been fulfilled, the changes which you asked about in your needs have all been also been taken care of, but your experience was bad. So do take into consideration always for your businesses. It is not just when we talk of digital transformation, you have to build digitalization strategies, you have to have man machine collaboration in a way, you have to automate the processes in a way that customer needs are fulfilled, number one. Number two, changes, very fast changing customer needs are being taken care of. And number three, superior experiences. So customers get superior experience. These days, experience is the key. It is not just about fulfillment of need. It is not just about changing needs. So these three things you have to keep in mind. I want to talk about the third topic, which is COVID-induced digital transformation. Now, COVID has induced a digital transformation. Before pandemic, I would talk to during various research conferences, national, international, especially in India. I would talk to on the sidelines. I will talk to many vice chancellors, and I will talk about digital transformation. And 95%, almost 95% plus, will do only a lip service to digital transformation because that entailed spending money and nobody was willing to invest. And everybody spoke about digital transformation. And the moment we had campuses locked because of the hard lockdowns, every vice chancellor wanted digital transformation should have happened a month earlier. And then there was a knee-jerk response. Everybody went online. And I say that online, what we are seeing now in everywhere, whether it's a food delivery, whether it's an education delivery, this is not what digital transformation is. This is very unidirectional digital transformation. This only in one direction. It is like a margherita pizza. No layer, no topping, just a bread and eat it. That's it. But we want to build toppings of olives, of mushroom or capsicum, tomato, onion. Those toppings are the real things in digital transformation. So in context of COVID-induced transformation, I characterize and I speak talk about this model in many conferences. I say BC. We in a normal calendar we say before Christ, so BC, before Corona stage. Now discard all the practices you were having. Only take some good practices, but discard the baggage. It has been reinitialized, everything, businesses, education, even our lifestyles, everything. And where are we now? We are in DC stage, during Corona stage. And during Corona stage, we have digital transformation, but it is very unidirectional. This is not optimal. This is not something I would want, but I have no option. It's better to have something in a logged state, in a logged campuses, logged businesses, logged food places. I have a very unidirectional online uh, system, but this is not what balanced digital transformation is. And after Corona, doesn't mean that Corona becomes zero. It might stay as a virus, it might stay forever in the ecosystem, but then it doesn't bother us. It doesn't disrupt our businesses. It doesn't disrupt our lifestyle. And we have sort of found a way to keep it at a bay, something like that. And that will be the time when you have to, which might be on 3, 4, 6 months away. We are now getting better, and we are now much wiser. We have learned our lessons, and then you have a more balanced digital transformation recipe for your businesses. Collaborate with machines, augment machines potential. Some processes you tell the machine, hey, you take over, and then give me the output, and then I will see where the thinking part comes. There you say, I will. When you have to speak with customer, you don't want a bot to speak with customer. There I will speak with customer. And acquiring future skills, very, very important. Future readiness, because today is the future. 3 years in the past, today, today was future, and today requires different skills than 3 years earlier. Do I have those skills? Do my employees have those skills? Invest in the future skills and make yourself future ready. Now, the last thing I would like to say, where MSMEs would have a lot of interest, is the state of India's digital economy. We have been roughly at $200 billion of economic output overall in the digital economy, which is roughly 6% of India's overall economy. So 6 paise out of 1 rupee. By 2025, the Ministry of Electronics and IT, in collaboration with McKinsey, there was a beautiful blueprint which was readied in 2018 and which was presented by the Minister of MEIT in Rajya Sabha. And we are now growing at a compounded annual growth rate of 36% in digital economy. And by 2025, our dream is that we reach $1 trillion in economic output, which will be 25% of the economy. So from 6 paise, we move to 25 paise, 4x by 2025. And by 2030, we move to 40 paise. So conventional economy 60 paise, digital economy 40 paise, almost equal only in 9-10 years from now. And digital economy will support 60 to 65 million new age jobs. And these jobs, these are 10 verticals, 30 themes. And these verticals relate to manufacturing, relate to information technology, healthcare, energy, financial services, skilling, electronics. So there are such 10 uh, main pillars, and then there are 30 themes in this blueprint. This is a 296-page PDF report. It is, you just Google McKinsey MEIT digital economy report. It will be 296 page, you can download. It's a very voluminous report. Now, in terms of internet users, from 70 crores today, we will be in next 5 years, 100 crore internet users. We already have 90 crore social media accounts, and e-commerce users from 20 crores will be up. It's already up from 6 crores few years earlier to 20 crores. We'll have 50 crore e-commerce users. And digital transactions, few years earlier, there were 250 crore digital transactions. It has gone up by 10x, 2,500 crore digital transaction. It is further going up in next 5 years to 10,000 crore digital transactions. And bank accounts, you already know, Jan Dhan bank accounts, 90 crore. This will go up to 100 crore. So these are the opportunities for MSMEs, I would say, in the digital economy, which is growing at a pace of 36%. Now, before I close and I take questions, and I don't want to speak for an hour. I want you to ask questions, and not only questions, if you want to add something, you are most welcome. Now, in terms of, this, what was I saying? Digital economy, we've already seen the phenomenal growth. Now, in terms of business model, now you should very clearly, I've seen people say that I have been digitally transformed. My business has a Facebook account. I now use WhatsApp to send messages. This is only small digitization. This is not digital transformation. For digital transformation, need to have a digital strategy with a time horizon of 2 years, 3 years. And this digitalization should leverage the man-machine augmentation, where women and men do something and machines do something, or automation, where you decide these processes only machines will do. Now, you have seen vaccines being produced. Labeling will not be done by men or employees. If machines are doing the labeling. The scientific research will be done by women and men. So this is part of your overall digitalization strategy. So digitalization, and then digitization and resilience. And then I have spoken about this digital transformation being a blended recipe. So 3 things you have to keep in mind: fulfillment of needs, changes in those needs, and the experiences. All 3 things are important. If you are missing even one thing, then your customer is not satisfied. Then, of course, COVID induced transformation, and from DC stage, when we move to AC stage, we will have a more well-rounded, more balanced digital transformation recipe. And then the opportunities which would be available in different segments, different sectors in digital economy, which and digital, doesn't mean a lot of entrepreneurs have a misconception that digital means lot of investments in servers, computers. No, even small scale manufacturing, you can digitalize. You can have your own digital transformation recipe. Some of the processes you can automate. Some of the processes you can do with machines. And that would be digital transformation of your business. It doesn't mean that you have to spend 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 50 lakhs to do a digital transformation. It depends on your own creativity. It depends on how you plan out the whole thing. So I stop here. I see time is 6:30, 6:31. So I think we have one question in the chat box. This question is from Vijayji, my dear friend. Why does digital transformation fail sometimes? What are the precautions to be taken? Digital transformation fails simply because we do not differentiate between digitalization and digitization. We think everything machines will do. And we think that digital transformation is all about automation. It is about creativity. It is not just about technology. It is about creativity, imagination, leadership. And that is why digital transformations, which are very technology intensive digital transformations, fail, because we do not take into consideration the blended recipe. It's very unidirectional digital transformation. When the digital transformation will be balanced, we will have more chances. When people and their emotions are built into digital transformation, then it will have more chances of being more successful. Uh, More questions, please. You can speak up one by one, whatever questions you want to ask with respect to your business. Sirish Kumar, what are the skills and subject knowledge an entrepreneur should have to lead an organization? Let me have a full question. What are the skills, Sirish Kumar, what are the skills and subject knowledge an entrepreneur should have to lead an organization towards digital transformation? Are their institutes offering such skills? So, very good question. One that you should, first of all, very important is that you first think of your planning horizon. There is my unit. I am an entrepreneur. I will plan for next 1 year. And what is my digitalization strategy? And then I come down to my digitization strategy, and then I come down to the resilience and agility part. What if after 6 months something, god forbid, another wave, strong wave comes? Where do I stand? What are the safeguards? It won't come. I mean, I am very confident the way our country is moving, third wave will do no harm to us. So I am not scaring anybody. uh, are there institutes offering? Yes, there are institutes, but do go for these skills. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Do first see that what is that you require, not because something that's what I am saying. It's a your own blended recipe. Does it fit into these are the skills which fit into your recipe? Then I will only go for these skills. And will these skills add value to my business? Then I do. And there are a lot of skills which I can pick up. What are the skills my people would need? Do I need a customer relationship management subscription? Maybe that will help, because a lot of things then I can give to the machines, which my people have been doing, and my people can spend more time with the customers. Maybe I pick up 5 licenses, which will cost me 10,000 rupees a month, and I free up time of my people to speak with customers. And now, I mean, maybe you may not go and walk into the customer premises at least for next 6 months, but you can always, the way we all have gathered, you can always quickly uh, sort of set up a Google Meet or Zoom call or WhatsApp video with the customer. So uh, next is Vijay Venkatesh. What is your view of effective adoption of ERP system in the manufacturing industries? And what about ROI on ERP system? Very good question. So ERPs have also moved, these have become a SaaS, software as a service based solutions. See, 20 years earlier, we used to, I mean, even in my early career days, we would have a client server architecture where we will spend huge amount of money on software. Now we have software as a service, pay per use. So I pick up an ERP with my 10 licenses and I use it. And after a year, I don't feel the need to have it. I am off the service. So as far as ROI is concerned, there is no generic answer, but this is a good question and a good thinking, that when you in your digitalization strategy, ROI is a very important component. What is the difference? Digitization. Digitalization is for a planning horizon of 1 year or 2 years. There you are thinking of ROI. There you are thinking of your cash flow. You are thinking of everything. You are thinking of spending 5 lakh rupees on digitization. What ROI will it give you? It will free up my people's time and they can talk to customers, and that will help better stickiness of my customers. That could help upselling to my customers. That could help retaining my customers. That could help taking those customer references and acquiring new customers. So all those things you have to uh, see. And there is another question: how to fill the industry academia skill gap for digital adoption? So this is another excellent question. Digital adoption, we are number 2 in the world. Indonesia is number 1. Uh, we are doing absolutely great in terms of digital adoption. I mean, we've seen during COVID how businesses have digitally adopted. Even restaurants have started through online. They've started collecting the orders. I mean, even for small things, small shops, even they have their systems now in place online. I can, through the web, I can place the order and they will courier me the thing and everything. I mean, I mean, for last 1.5 years, rarely I have paid by cash to many people I deal with very few times. So now, in terms of the academia, unfortunately, I mean, what can I say? A large part of our academia is still uh, grounded in a very traditional way of teaching, and that is not the way we will sort of, when I say digital economy of India will support new age jobs, which will be 60 to 65 million, 6 to 6.5 crore new age jobs. Now for new age jobs, if academia doesn't support future skills generation, then students have to do it outside their academic institutions. They have to acquire those skills, and so this is where there is a huge need. And I mean, I teach in premier B schools, and I always say that B schools or engineering institutes should have more practice faculty in addition to academic faculty. uh, so, uh, Sirish Kumar again, and I will request that uh, we are having here the uh, questions coming from 3 4.
Yes, sir. If you want me to read out, sir. Yeah.
Yes, please.
This is from Mr. Sirish Kumar Polmaraju. He says he gave us a thought process and wants to know what is your advice about balancing value creation and technology adoption, because when we the organization are too obsessed with technology and strategically the focus shifts towards adoption of technology rather than creating value.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is a great question. Your digitalization strategy has to focus on value creation. Why adopting technology? Value creation is the key. Adopting technology, adopting an ERP just for the heck of adopting it, and it has all the complexities, and your people are struggling, and they have not been able to uh, fully adopt to it. So then the adoption is not the real thing. Is three things, as I already mentioned: fulfillment of your customers' needs, fulfillment of their changing needs, because they will always change their needs. Even in the signed SOWs, they will say, no, my need has changed. Now, if you can fulfill it, fine. Otherwise, we short close the contract. And third is the experience. As long as you are doing three things through adoption, not the other way around. You first do adoption and forget about these three things. These three things, because and concurrently you have adoption. So adoption is not the end state. Value creation is the end state.
We have Mr. Neeraj would like to ask. Yes, Mr. Raja, please go on.
Yeah, you can unmute Neeraj and ask.
Yeah. Hi, if you are able to hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Practical problem which MSMEs face. Yeah, okay. more from the practical angle of it, I'm always walking a very tight rope in terms of resource availability as an MSME. Now, we often depend on funding from some of the financial institutions or banks, but the banking system seldom, understands or appreciates or is even aware of these kind of systems. So, or any sort of investment in digitization or digital transformation of my organization, because they do not see a physical asset being created, right? So now, just wanted your help or your thoughts on how does one go about, convincing some of these banking partners so that they understand and appreciate, and maybe are also forthcoming with their finances, or are forthcoming with the lending which my organization so badly needs for this digital transformation.
So the rules of lending always are, I mean, if you are a lender, you will also follow the same rule. What has been the past performance? What did you commit in terms of performance, and what did you achieve? Number one, past. If you achieved what you committed, your what I can say, your worthiness score in the eyes of lender goes up. The lender sees you more with respect, and lender has a less risk of his money being given to you because you have achieved and what you had promised or nearly achieved. The next part is the future. Nobody knows the future, but if you can create a solid business plan, and that business plan is part of the digitalization, wherein you are saying, and wherein you are saying very convincingly that if I am, see, most of the time now you don't need capex for digital, you need only opex. I hope you understand capex and opex. You don't need capital expenses for digital. You need only operating expenses, because you can buy the licenses which is an opex, operating expense. So you can build your business plan wherein you are showing that these are the processes I am automating, and while doing this automation, these are the licenses I am going to buy, and this is the opex which is going into my balance, this business plan. And also you have to see, typically when venture capitalists will fund, and even banks will say, come with a optimistic plan, come with a conservative plan. I may achieve 10 crores, but if the conditions are tough, I may only achieve 7 crores. If I achieve 7 crores, maybe I am incurring a loss of 1 crore. If I achieve 10 crores, then I am getting a profit of 80 lakhs. So what I am saying is that all these things, banks are not averse to this. Banks only understand language of money. Lenders will only understand language of money. It's none of their concern that you are taking ERP as a SaaS, this thing. Only thing they will have a concern is that if you say, I am borrowing 1 crore from you, 60 lakhs will go for, I am deploying a huge digital ERP system in my this thing. So that they will be scared. They will be scared to lend you the money. So that is what I am saying. You convert that capex into opex and build the opex in a manner that it is. See, one thing we should be very clear. No digital transformation requires tons of money. Digital transformation, if you are judicious, if you are having strong leadership, if you have creativity, digital will be much less money spent than usually the perception is. So you can optimize rather lot of this thing. But again, I am saying not just for the heck of using digital. If your recipe is that I will use digital minimally, I'm only going to, my turnover is 10 crores and I'm only going to spend 1.5 lakhs on digital, that's fine. This is no competing. The other person is spending 8%, so I should have spent 80 lakhs. I am spending only 1.5 lakhs. There is no shame. This is your need. This is your recipe. his recipe is different. It is, you don't have to copy his recipe, and banks will appreciate the language of money, and the language of money behind working that business plan. You have to start with your digitalization strategy. How much licenses I require, how much I focus on automation, how much on augmentation. Maybe I can cut down one person's headcount because of this automation, and that headcount I shift in some other job where I require more thinking job, more talking to customers, or skilling my internal employees. That machines, it will be difficult to delegate this to machines.
There's one more question from Mr. Vincent.
Neeraj, are you, hope it has provided you a few insights. My answer.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are moving to next question, sir. Yeah. Mr. Vincent says that everybody wants to go to digital transformation, but it seems to be very slow, as you also were mentioning, sir. Is it due to lack of leadership, creativity, or any other inputs like lack of knowledge on digital transformation or financial issues regard to MSMEs?
Yeah, this is an excellent question, and this is what is happening in the industry. This is what is happening with MSMEs. First of all, you do, as we say, you sort of bite as much as you can chew. So do only that much digital transformation which you can easily do, where you can have good adoption. I mean, India as a country, just to give you an example, I mean, it suddenly didn't. I mean, it's only in the recent years that we've become a digital powerhouse of the world. And our digital economy is the fastest growing economy in the world. It's only now, not 20 years earlier. So in the same way, I would say that digital transformation should not make you move slowly. If it is making you move slowly, just keep it aside. You have to move fast. Digital transformation has to accelerate. I mean, if by putting a pedal on accelerator, my speed slows down, then I will say I am better off the pedal than pressing it. And then I can walk faster. Let me leave the car. So, or I can run faster. So I would say that digital transformation, if it slows down, and that means there is either your business doesn't require that much digital as you put in your digital transformation blueprint, or you are not creating the right kind of blueprint for your business, or there is no need for it. I mean, digital is not something which is to boast of or which is to show to others. I mean, everybody minds her or his own business. Who cares? I mean, how much did you spend on digital transformation? So just be sure that, I mean, put the money where the mouth is. If you require digital transformation, then what is the extent to which you require digital transformation? And it should come out of your digitalization strategy. It should come out of your 1-year plan or 2-year plans or 3-year plans. And then it must speed up the things, not slow down the things. Maybe initially for adoption, let's say for 2-3 months, there is some slowdown because employees are also climbing up on the learning curve. But then you have to take, that's why I say that each recipe is different. You have to take a judgment call that if this is perpetually slowing me down, but then don't go for the shortcuts, because in the customer complaint recording example which we took, if there are some glitches, then don't say, okay, I discard this system, we will again manually start recording customer complaints. No. I mean, the easiest way is to discard and again go back to regress to the previous processes. But if you think that this is something which is not required, there are only 5 complaints which come in a day. Why should I spend on a CRM license and all? then I can take these on telephone, multitasking. I am a sales manager. I can also take the complaints while doing my job. There only 5 complaints come or 3 complaints come in a day. So all these, I mean, there is no sort of ready-made recipe which anybody can give. That you have to decide. To what extent digital transformation is successful in rural India? This is a great question. And I think this is something in agriculture, there is a huge potential. And I know of, in fact, I did a digital transformation programs for Seedworks, which predominantly works in with rural India. Seedworks is, I think, our friend Pulkit may not be here, but I think Vijayji knows the whole context, and so I would say that they have very successfully done the while giving seeds and hybrid seeds and pesticides and disease control through. They even the farmers have the apps so that they can. I mean, when they are doing the pathological analysis of diseases, they can do it very quickly. And lot of products are now the digital produce, the agriculture produce is being
Procured digitally.
being distributed, being sold digitally. The young farmers, young rural entrepreneurs are becoming tech savvy, and they know that they can. There are umpteen stories from different. Milk production is another very good example, because milk as a sector has provided millions of jobs to women. And milk, I mean, lot of apps are there now, and the way Amul interacts with milk farmers, and a lot of things are now digital. I mean, even recently, Government of India bought this wheat from Punjab, Haryana, and many other states, and there was direct payment to farmers' accounts, not to middlemen, digitally. They got everything in their accounts. So lot many, I mean, I would say there's a huge this thing. I mean, in terms of agriculture, is 15% of our GDP. So there is a huge, and then agro manufacturing and other agro products. And there is a lot of now, I mean, this thing, fruits and vegetables during pandemic also. A lot of, you would have seen a lot of new business model, vegetables being sold online and being door delivered to you, and at a reasonable prices. So there are, I would say, and it doesn't cost much. You can there are e-commerce platforms, and at a very minimal cost, you are up. Think of otherwise setting up a factory or setting up your own warehouse or this thing, that will cost much more. And digital, I mean, if you have to wind up in 3 days, you can wind up the whole business. That's it.
Sir, if I can take an opportunity, sir, in terms of selecting agency, for example, in term MSME entrepreneurs to implement their digital transformation strategies, they would not find enough ready manpower in their own organization. What do you think, or metrics, or what do you think, or the how do you select an agency in terms for implementing digital transformation?
Don't select any agency. Don't select any consultant. Don't even call me. So do on your own. I mean, you all are I mean, highly educated. You can yourself. Digital is you don't have to write a code. You are exploring it as a user and as a owner of the business. So take small steps that improve your understanding of the things, and step by step. Do not go with any agency. The agency will charge a lot of money. That money you can spend on your digital transformation recipe. Do things on your own. Pick up bright youngsters, pick up bright interns from engineering college, pick up bright people from commerce graduates. They all are, I would say, they are digital natives. They are not digital immigrants like us. They are much faster in digital understanding than us. Pick them up, give them these things. Pick up 2 interns. Say, we'll pay you 5,000 rupees in your internship per month. And you will also learn, we will also gain. 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, that you decide. So no need for any agency, no need for any consultant. Be your own agency, be your own consultant.
Thank you, sir.
So are we done?
I think we are done, sir.
Yeah, sir. I have one last question. I have just posted it on the chat there.
Yeah.
See, since we have to take small steps and it's a long-term process of getting this digital transformation, is there any framework on how I prioritize what processes should be automated or augmented? What should be the strategy?
Yeah, I think
Because obviously I cannot automate all the processes.
That's a great question. But for MSMEs, I will not want, for a larger companies, I mean, companies with a turnover of 1,000 crores, 2,000 crores, 5,000 crores, bigger companies, I will say that they will rely on large digital frameworks, the transformation frameworks and this thing. Here, I would say that create your own framework. No need to sort of get too much bogged down by the framework. You can yourself make a blueprint. It is simple. What you have to do is that, what is my business plan? How much I can, and what is the augmentation I have to do? What is the automation I have to do? How much will it cost? And everyone has access to internet. Everyone can Google. Everyone can find, see, this CRM 10 licenses will cost me, let's say 5 lakh rupees a year. This Tele ERP will cost me another 3 lakhs a year. And I put that in my business plan. Even that is good enough digital transformation plan. So I would say that if you grow very big and there is a need now to have a very formalized digital transformation framework, and you should have grown that big that you can afford to have a chief digital officer who takes care of these things, and you will pay a fortune to her or him also. But then you should be having a turnover of 5,000 crores or something like that. And otherwise, I would say that you yourself sit down with your team and decide, take few bright interns. They will be good enough. So make your own digitalization roadmap, make your own blueprint, see what are the processes during next 1 year we will automate, and keep into consideration the resilience part. What if things go haywire? Anything happens in next 6 months, which I was not anticipating. I'm not talking about COVID. Something I was not anticipating. Some natural calamity, something happens, some reduction, or there is some change in market requirements. So keep those things, do all that sensitivity analysis that, okay, in this normal, this thing, I will have a 1 crore turnover this year. Otherwise, I may have 70 lakhs. If 70 lakhs, then what is that sensitivity analysis? And don't overshoot. Better to stay on a conservative side. Don't overshoot by spending too much on digital. Step-by-step approach is far better than saying that, oh, I will do everything in 1 year, and better take a very measured steps. And you can, I mean, you can't eat 1 year's lunch in 1 day. I mean, you have to go step by step, step by step, step by step. So digital transformation is not going to end in 1 year. It's going to remain for next 10 years. You can continue with your digital transformation. Sandeep, can we take one picture? I will click.
Yes, sir.
I mean, if everyone can.
Yes, we can put in the cameras, we can do that.
Yeah. Still, I can see many black boxes.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Only
May I request everybody, if it is possible, to switch on the camera. Yeah.
Yeah. Only for 30 seconds.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Now there are only few black boxes left. So another 10 seconds, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
great.
Can you do that? Shall
Yeah.
we wait?
Please. Yeah. So now you can sort of, if you want, stop your video, you can. So I think that's all from this was I did not want to complicate the things, wanted to keep these things simple. And I am quite confident that you all with your creativity, with your leadership, you will create digital transformation roadmaps and blueprints, part of digitalization, leveraging on augmentation and automation. You will create uh, very effective roadmaps. And this is not something which is rocket science. Everyone can do it. It's nothing about technology. Technology is now available like a salt you put. You don't, when you are making a curry and you put a salt, you don't get into the details how salt is made, what are the manufacturing processes. Why should you be bothered? So don't be bothered. Where will it stay on the cloud? How they will handle my this thing? And the last thing, I mean, this is you not asked this question, but people do say that my customer data, if on a cloud, somebody will steal my customer data. So that risk is always there. Then don't drive even a car. If you drive a car, there is a 0.0003% chance that there will be an accident. Then don't drive the car. Then don't eat something, because there is a 0.0008% chance that if you eat this thing, then something bad will happen to your digestion. Then I mean, so then there is no, because if you are expecting gains, then has to be some risk. But you have to, if the risk is very small, then it's fine. But if the risk is appreciable, then of course you have to then decide. But I would say the risks of such leaks and this thing which media highlights, those are with bigger companies, and also these are not as much as we are we are made to believe. So don't be bogged down by these things. Eventually, I mean, you have to leverage these things, and this is not about technology at all. It's about your creativity and leadership. Digital is only a salt. So we effectively try to use that salt.
Thank you very much, sir, for instilling confidence that we also can be digital leaders. We have many. If they look at the chat box, we can see the enthusiasm and the amount of insights you have imbibed in all of us. Thank you for your time, sir. And first of all, thank you for immediately accepting our request and being helpful to all the entrepreneurs and academy as well. We thank you once again, sir. We hope to catch you again if there is any other chance.
Sure. Thank you. All the best, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.